It started with a simple question. A congressman wanted clarity on a single email. But within minutes, Attorney General Pam Bondi's confidence began to unravel, exposing cracks in the Department of Justice's oversight and raising questions about just how much control she really has over her own office. What unfolded in that hearing wasn't just about budgets or cybersecurity. It became a public spectacle about leadership, accountability, and a potential breach into FBI independence that could have massive national security consequences. Congressman Frank Mr. Van didn't waste time. He began by painting a picture of his district, Northwest Indiana.
Aware of the HIDA, I believe that's in Maryville, is that correct?
You are correct.
And yes, that funding will remain where it is. We do not intend on touching that funding. We want to protect HIDA.
Very good. So in light of the escalation with Iran, part of our cybersecurity and our infrastructure when it comes to our electric grid, our banking systems, that is a new threat. Does this budget reflect increasing our cybersecurity protections, and how is the Department of Justice going to protect our infrastructure when it comes to bad actors such as Iran coming directly at our infrastructure in a cyber attack?
Yeah, we have $50 million for cybersecurity, and also in the one big
With an M, 50 million?
50 million, yeah,
Okay.
but also in the one big beautiful bill, it is also addressed to give us more resources. And it's not only
Can I
Iran,
ask-
as you well know, it's China as well. But
Right.
yes, I wholeheartedly agree with you,
In the
Congressman.
reconciliation, tomato, in the reconciliation bill, can you tell me what more resources are going to go towards cybersecurity? Because I was under the impression that was decreased.
I will get you those numbers.
Okay. Yes.
I want to do everything I can to help you protect cybersecurity, all of us in this country, not only again with Iran, but also with China and all of our foreign adversaries around the world.
Okay. And then just a question of curiosity that I have. Director Patel was here a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about the emails that went to the FBI agents, meaning, please tell us what you did at the end of the week. Give us 5 reasons why you did. At first, Director Patel said that didn't exist. Then he specifically said, well, that came from the Department of Justice to the FBI agents, and his words, I told them not to fulfill that obligation. How do you manage that if you give a directive to your director of FBI and he chooses not to fulfill that? And where did that information go? So when someone from the FBI, an agent, fulfilled that obligation of giving you the information of what they were working on, where did that data go and how is it secured?
Yeah, and Congressman, I'd be happy to see who answered that, but I asked, when I learned about it, I asked that it be withdrawn, and it was, that email.
When you learned about the email going to the FBI agents, you asked them to withdraw it. Who did you ask to have it withdrawn?
My entire office, and it was.
So it is unknown who sent that email?
Well, it came from my office, but when I learned it went to the FBI, we asked that it be withdrawn.
Where is the gap of my understanding? If it came from your office, you're telling me you didn't send it?
I didn't realize it went to the FBI. That email went out.
So-
And the purpose of that email was to make sure, just so you know, it was to make sure that these people were sitting at their desk and working and alive, that there were people actually
Okay, and
responding.
I agree.
It could have been, I got up and got a cup of coffee.
Sure.
That
So
was
without
the
going into
purpose.
that, the people that did answer it, where did that data go?
I will find out. I will get you that information.
And I only ask as a national security issue as
Absolutely.
they're working on sensitive issues. And I thank you for joining us, and I yield back my time.
Thank you.
A region where federal grants had once flowed steadily, supporting police departments, outfitting officers with modern technology, and ensuring neighborhoods felt just a little bit safer. But in 2025, much of that funding was rescinded. For the people of Gary, East Chicago, Lake County, and Michigan City, the impact was immediate and devastating. Those dollars weren't just numbers on a page, they meant working license plate readers on dangerous roads, drug interdiction tools, and grants to hire cops on the beat. Mr. Van pressed Bondi directly. Would the Department of Justice restore these critical funds? Would the men and women who put their lives on the line every day still have the resources to do their jobs? Bondi's answer was quick but strangely hollow. She promised the funding would remain where it is. She assured him that HIDA, the high-intensity drug trafficking program in his district, would be protected. On paper it sounded like a win, but behind her words was a familiar pattern: general pledges, vague assurances, no specifics, and no concrete plan for how to actually secure the future of these programs. It was enough to sound confident in the moment, but not enough to provide real accountability. And if Mr. Van's first line of questioning rattled her slightly, what came next pushed her even further. He shifted to a different battlefield altogether: cybersecurity. With tensions escalating between the United States, Iran, and China, the threat of cyber attacks has never been higher. Electric grids, banking systems, entire sectors of American infrastructure hang in the balance. The question was simple: was the Department of Justice prepared? Did the budget reflect the urgency of protecting the nation against foreign adversaries in cyberspace? Bondi leaned on a single number: $50 million. That was what she claimed DOJ had set aside for cyber protections. Then, in almost a dismissive way, she described it as being included in one big beautiful bill. To a trained ear, it sounded less like strategy and more like improvisation. Mr. Van wasn't satisfied, and neither were viewers who later replayed the exchange. When pressed for more details, Bondi admitted she didn't actually know the full breakdown of resources. She promised she would get back with the numbers. For an attorney general facing Congress on one of the most pressing threats of our time, that was a glaring oversight. And for Mr. Van, it was a sign of troubling unpreparedness at the very top of the Justice Department. But the real shock came when the hearing turned to a mysterious DOJ email, one that, according to FBI Director Patel, never should have been sent. At first, Patel himself denied it even existed. Then, when pressed, he admitted it did exist: an email ordering FBI agents to provide weekly reports about what they were working on. He said he had told agents to ignore the directive. That alone raised eyebrows. But when Mr. Van brought the issue to Bondi directly, the situation spiraled. She admitted that yes, the email had come from her office, but in the same breath she claimed she didn't know it had been sent to the FBI at all. According to her, the intention wasn't to spy or interfere with operations, it was just to make sure people were at their desks and working. Her explanation sounded almost casual, like the government's top law enforcement office was treating the FBI as if it were a school classroom. Yet the implications were far more serious. Mr. Van pressed harder. Who sent the email? Where did the data go? If agents had filled out those weekly reports, what happened to that sensitive information? Bondi had no clear answers. She admitted she couldn't identify who in her office pushed the directive out. She admitted she didn't know where the collected information ended up. Her only solution was a vague promise: "I'll find out." That one phrase, "I didn't realize it went to the FBI," wasn't just a slip of the tongue. It revealed something far more dangerous: a Department of Justice where directives could leave the Attorney General's office, land on FBI desks, and potentially compromise national security without her even knowing. The entire foundation of DOJ-FBI independence rests on strict boundaries. For decades, administrations have gone out of their way to ensure the FBI's work is shielded from political pressure. Bondi's testimony cracked that wall wide open. The consequences of this failure are staggering. If FBI agents had complied with the order, they could have unintentionally revealed details about undercover operations, sources in the field, or ongoing cases. Even a single leaked detail could compromise years of investigation, put lives at risk, and give adversaries an advantage. And if foreign threats like Iran or China are as aggressive as Bondi herself admitted, this lapse in oversight could have exposed vulnerabilities the U.S. can't afford. Politically, the fallout is just as severe. Bondi entered the hearing projecting confidence. She wanted to show she could handle funding, cybersecurity, and oversight. Instead, her testimony gave critics an easy narrative: an attorney general out of her depth, unable to control her own office, and unprepared for the responsibilities of the job. Within hours, headlines were already framing the exchange as a symbol of dysfunction within the Trump-aligned DOJ. Democrats now have new ammunition to push subpoenas, demand documents, and call for expanded oversight hearings. And even Republicans, wary of the implications for national security, may find themselves demanding answers. For Congressman Mr. Van, the hearing became an unexpected showcase. He stayed measured, never raising his voice, but he didn't let Bondi slip away with vague talking points. He pressed her on the numbers, pressed her on the email, and pressed her on the integrity of DOJ operations. The contrast between his persistence and her evasiveness made the gap in credibility all the more visible. By the end, viewers were left with a chilling question. If the Attorney General doesn't even know what directives are being sent from her own office to the FBI, who's really running the Department of Justice? And if the DOJ can't protect its own chain of command, how can it protect the American people from foreign adversaries or cyber threats? Pam Bondi may have thought she was walking into a routine oversight hearing. What she walked out with was something else entirely, a credibility crisis that could haunt her tenure, intensify congressional scrutiny, and spark new investigations into DOJ communications with federal law enforcement. And that's the story that should have everyone talking. Because this wasn't just about an email, it was about accountability at the very top, and the unsettling possibility that the people sworn to uphold justice may not even have control over their own departments. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss an update.